Good evening, visitors, and welcome to the Australian War Memorial's Last Post ceremony, which today commemorates the 74th anniversary of the victory in Europe, Second World War. Tonight we will hear the story of Warrant Officer Hugh Joseph Kilday, who lost his life over the skies of England. My name is Sharon Bown, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Stacey Davids. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that continue to serve, and the families that support them. We acknowledge the members of RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland, who are watching the broadcast of this ceremony across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial and by students on behalf of the following schools. From New South Wales, the Armidale School. From Tasmania, the Friends School Hobart. And from Victoria, Yarram Primary School and Ivanhoe Grammar School. Australia's Federation Guard is the tri-service ceremonial unit of the Australian Defence Force. They provide a ceremonial presence at civil and military events and during visits to Australia by foreign dignitaries. The Guard will now dismount the catafalque party from the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier. If you are able, please stand and join in singing the national anthem.
Attention! Party free. Present! Arms!
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is earth by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts, of beauty rich and rare. In history's page let every state advance Australia fair. In joyful strains then let us sing, advance Australia fair.
Go! Arms! Go! Arms!
Students, please be seated. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight we will read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths and floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the pool of reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Warrant Officer Hugh Joseph Kilday. Hugh Kilday was born in Yarragon, Victoria, on the 19th of June 1913, the son of Lawrence and Margaret Kilday. He grew up in the area and attended Yarragon State School. He went on to attain his leaving certificate with honors at high school. Kildday loved playing sport, particularly cricket, tennis, golf, and Australian rules football. He and several of his brothers played for the Yarragon Magpies Football Club, and they regularly made the local newspapers for their good play. Hugh was known for his skills as a forward. By the time the Second World War began, Kilday was working as a delivery driver for the bakery in Yarragon. His initial attempt to join the Royal Australian Air Force in early 1941 met with failure. But he tried again later that year and was accepted for aircrew training. He qualified as an air observer in October 1942 and was promoted to sergeant. In November, Kilday embarked for Canada. As part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 Royal Australian Air Force pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners, and engineers who throughout the course of the war joined Royal Air Force squadrons or Australian squadrons based in Britain. In Canada, Kilday underwent further training before being sent to England in 1943. Here, he qualified as a navigator. In late November 1943, he was sent to a heavy bomber conversion unit and met John Breed, a qualified bomber pilot from Western Australia. The two became crewmates and were soon firm friends. Their crew was completed by 4 British servicemen from the Royal Air Force Volunteer Reserve. The men spent many hours flying Stirling bombers and jailed as a team. In late 1944, Breed, Kilday, and their crewmates were posted to number 196 Squadron, Royal Air Force at Keevil in Wiltshire. They found their new home a hive of activity as 196 Squadron was heavily involved in training with British paratroopers and glider troops for the impending invasion of France. On the 4th of June, the men of number 196 Squadron posed for photographs. Takeoff for the invasion of Normandy was scheduled for later that night. Kilday posed for several photographs, one of which is displayed beside the pool of reflection this evening. As it turned out, bad weather delayed the invasion by 24 hours. At 11:20 p.m. on the 5th of June 1944, 23 Stirlings of 196 Squadron took off from Keevil, bound for Normandy. Aboard each aircraft were up to 20 paratroopers and their equipment. As the aircraft crossed the Normandy coastline, German anti-aircraft fire lit up the sky. On reaching their jump point near Ranville, the paratroopers exited the aircraft. Their job done, the aircraft of 196 Squadron turned for home. The squadron lost 1 aircraft which was shot down, but the remaining 22 Stirlings returned to England. During a leave break in early July, Kilday was best man at Leonard Breed's wedding in Yorkshire. Over the next few months, Kilday continued to fly with Breed on training missions, as well as resupply operations to resistance forces in Norway and France. Kildday took part in Operation Market Garden in September. Number 196 Squadron was involved in flying British airborne forces into Holland on the 17th of September. In the ensuing days, numerous resupply operations were flown to Arnhem to assist the besieged British paratroopers. In between major operations, Number 196 Squadron returned to flying support operations for the Special Operations Executive and assisting resistance forces in occupied Europe. Kilday's next major action occurred during Operation Varsity, the Allied airborne operation which captured ground ahead of the British and American advance across the Rhine in late March 1945. Following this historic event, the squadron returned to flying Special Operations Executive operations until the end of the war. When Germany surrendered on the 8th of May, the British began Operation Doomsday, which saw 196 Squadron taking British troops to Norway to disarm the large number of German troops still there. In the early hours of Thursday, the 10th of May, which was also Ascension Day, Breed and his crew took off for Norway, carrying 14 British paratroopers. They encountered heavy weather over the North Sea, and low clouds meant severely limited visibility during the approach to Gardermoen airport located north of Oslo. The landing was aborted, and most of the Sterlings returned to England. But for an unknown reason, several of the aircraft continued on. Around 1,500 meters from the runway, the Sterling piloted by Breed was witnessed emerging from the low cloud some 300 feet from the ground. The aircraft was seen to attempt an immediate climb, but lost power, plunged into the ground, and burst into flames. Nearby locals rushed to the scene, but there were no survivors. 2 more Sterlings crashed that morning, and 44 men were killed. Among them was Hugh Kilday, who was 31 years old. Breed, Kildday, and their crewmates were initially buried along with the paratroopers near the scene of the crash. Their bodies were reinterred in the Oslo Western Civil Cemetery in November 1945. Kilday's name is listed on the roll of honor on my left among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. A group photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection, where Kildday is located in the front row, second from the left. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Warrant Officer Hugh Joseph Kilday, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.
We will remember them.
Stand! Arms!
lest we forget.
Lest we forget.
Party out. Words. Turn. Catapult party. Quick. March.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We thank you all for visiting the Australian War Memorial, and we wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.